and I was not following a healthy lifestyle myself, reaching 270 pounds at my heaviest, not exercising. I had an aha moment when honestly, I was walking upstairs carrying a kind of a light box, only maybe 10 or 15 pounds. My daughter was at the top. She was 7 years old at the time. And I was really short of breath. I was struggling just to get up the stairs from all the weight I was carrying. And my daughter looked at me and said, "Dad, are you gonna die? Are you okay?" And she was 7 years old. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I must look horrible." And it just hit me. I have to change my diet and lifestyle, lose weight. And then I realized I don't know how.
Welcome to the Habit Healers Podcast, where small habits create big transformations. I'm Dr. Lori Marbus, and here we explore the science and the stories behind lasting change. Through real-life experiences, expert insights, and practical strategies, we uncover the habits that heal physically, mentally, and spiritually. So if you're ready to break free from frustration and build a life of health and vitality, you are absolutely in the right place. So let's get started. But right before we do, I'd love to say thank you to our sponsors. This episode of the podcast is proudly sponsored by Fit Vegan Coaching, the world's leading whole food, plant-based body recomposition coaching program for those between 50 and 86. It's specifically made to help those looking to lose body fat, build lean muscle to combat sarcopenia, and strengthen their bones to fight osteoporosis. Founded by Maxim Seguin, whose personal journey began after losing his late partner to breast cancer in 2020. Fit Vegan Coaching is on a mission to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and reduce risk of chronic illnesses by 2033 and 1 million by 2050 through whole food, plant-based eating, and fitness. This program is the industry leader in whole food, plant-based body recomposition. They've helped over 850 people from 20 different countries transform their lives. I personally went through the program and lost 7% of body fat, gained lean muscle, and even improved my running time, all while feeling energized and healthy. They offer all-inclusive services to ensure you reach your goals, from world-class accountability to customized strength programs, tailored nutrition, and much more. They will even help you speed up your metabolism post-fat loss to ensure the weight doesn't come back. Say goodbye to the yo-yo dieting and embrace a lasting transformation. Ready to take charge of your health and vitality? Head over to fitvegancoaching.com and mention Dr. Lori for exclusive bonus savings when you sign up. Don't miss this opportunity to join this movement toward a healthier, fitter, and more vibrant you. Welcome to the Habit Healers Podcast. Today, I'm so excited to bring back a dear friend, Dr. Stephen Lome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me again.
Oh my gosh. When I think about people who've healed habits and helped others heal habits and just created your own healing journey, you came to the top of my mind. So I am so excited you said yes. So to introduce everyone, can you tell us a little bit just about your journey into wanting to be a doctor? And you were like, yes, until what was that point that you're like, wait, something's not right?
Yeah, it actually is quite a crazy journey. I can't believe I've gone through it this way. I feel like I'm in some kind of virtual reality, honestly. It is both personal and professional. I always was interested in being a physician, altruistically, honestly, just helping others and doing good. And decided to become a cardiologist. Heart disease is the number one killer in America, and thought, hey, that's where the biggest impact can be made. But I grew up with very unhealthy habits on a standard American diet. Both my parents were over 300 pounds. My sister reached 450 pounds in high school. And really, I just followed our culture and what tasted good, what was cheap and convenient. Never exercised. And, I didn't think much of it, especially because throughout my training as a cardiologist at a big, university in Chicago, it was not emphasized. Lifestyle changes weren't. The two professors that trained me were 300 pounds and diabetic, wonderful people, brilliant, and taught me a lot. However, lifestyle was not a part of their focus and healthy habits. We had a mindset that prevention was medications for cholesterol and take your aspirin and control your blood pressure with medicines. That was prevention, not necessarily lifestyle related. And so it really, the journey came together after I had been practicing for about 4 years as a cardiologist, getting frustrated professionally that all I was doing was giving pills to my patients and they didn't like the medications. They cost money and had side effects. And sometimes I wouldn't take them. I could also give them all the perfect medications, and guess what? They might still have a heart attack or a stroke. The medicine's not treating the cause of the problem, but I didn't see that
Mm.
because personally, I didn't have that knowledge yet, and I was not following a healthy lifestyle myself, reaching 270 pounds at my heaviest, not exercising. I had an aha moment when honestly, I was walking upstairs carrying a kind of a light box, only maybe 10 or 15 pounds. My daughter was at the top. She was 7 years old at the time. And I was really short of breath. I was struggling just to get up the stairs from all the weight I was carrying. And my daughter looked at me and said, "Dad, are you gonna die? Are you okay?" And she was 7 years old. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I must look horrible." And it just hit me. I have to change my diet and lifestyle, lose weight. And then I realized I don't know how. This is not what I was trained to do. I had no clue what to do. And that started my journey into lifestyle medicine, which was a struggle because there was a lot of misinformation and hard, things that I had to trial and error. And I honestly screwed things up more than once, trying to get to where I eventually was able to get to. And I learned a lot along the way, and that created my whole passion for lifestyle medicine.
Could you walk us through just a few of those things that kind of even tripped you up as a physician? Because we've all been down that road, because I think that'll be a lot of the journey that others are on right now too. They're like, oh, this is it, that's it. But what were
Yeah.
those?
Well, and it's the first thing, honestly, was the misconception that I see all the time in my patients when I'm trying to help them get on their journey. And that is focusing just on exercise. People do this all the time. They don't want to think about their diet. Diet is like they love their diet. They love the food that they eat. They grew up on what the culture tells them is okay to eat. They don't want to change that. So I'm just going to exercise like crazy. And so the first mistake I made when trying to recapture my health was signing up for a marathon. I was 270 pounds, and I said, I'm just going to exercise. Look at these marathon runners. They're actually, pretty thin and fit. So I'm just gonna sign up for a marathon. And I wasn't thinking that much about diet, maybe a little bit, but I was trying to out exercise my diet, and that just doesn't work. The general rule that we always say is about 80% of health and weight loss is diet, and 20% is exercise. And exercise is important. That 20% is critical, no question about it. But it's predominantly diet related, and so there'll be many times in my office, I'll be talking to somebody about lifestyle changes, diet, and then they'll listen to me, and I can just kind of hear it's in one ear out the other. I'm going to sign up for the gym tomorrow. And the patient will say, like, wait, no, you just missed everything I said. That's 20%, and I also have other patients who come in with heart disease who are marathon runners or they cycle all the time,
Mhm.
but they don't have the healthy diet, and they're like, why do I have heart disease? I'm so fit. Like, well, that's because you're not eating the proper diet. And so I
Yeah.
think that was the biggest mistake I made.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. So people try to go all in on one thing and try to keep the others, but they don't think about it holistically. But well, they didn't know, right? You didn't know, even as a physician, well, none
Yeah,
of us knew. So that's incredible. So you had this journey. Your 7-year-old makes you see aha on the stairs carrying a
yeah,
light box like dad.
yeah.
And then you go through some challenges. So where did you feel like you finally like had it? Like what was that final like, wow, this is what I need to do?
Yeah, so it came after I tried other things like I tried moderation. I'm just going to cut back on the junk and the cookies and the fast food. I didn't want to give it up, so I figured out that's not right. Just like you shouldn't smoke cigarettes in moderation or do heroin or cocaine in moderation. Things that are bad for you should be zero. So I had that revelation. I tried reading the USDA dietary guidelines and thought that they were going to be legitimate, but very industry influenced. So the real true revelation happened when good old Netflix randomly said you should watch Forks Over Knives. And I was like, what's this? And I read the description, and it's something like reversing heart disease. And I'm like, what? No, you can't reverse heart disease. I mean, that's not possible. I mean, I'm a cardiologist. I went through training. This is bogus, but you know what? Whatever. I'll just watch it and see. And it made so much sense because I was already kind of learning about nutrition, although it was the wrong nutrition. I had the mindset of trying to, change diet and lifestyle. I just needed another aha moment.
Mm.
And this was it. When it was explained that, hey, heart disease, I remember Dr. Esselstyn saying, need never exist. And if it does exist, it need never progress. And I was just like, that's ridiculous. I was always taught it is a progressive disease. It's a part of aging. It's just something that happens. If we could arrest it and stop it from getting worse or even prevent it in the first place, wouldn't that be all the focus of everything we do in the medical world?
Right, right.
That's what you would think, but it's unfortunately not. And a lot of it is money, influence, and the cultural, because it's just hard to change our culture to do what we really need to do.
I have a question for you. So, if you had not already kind of been in that journey of searching, do you think if Netflix would have offered that up to you, that you would have watched it, one, and two, would you have had the same revelation?
I don't even know the answer to that question. I would hope I would have that revelation. I'm a very open-minded person. I'm a progressive person. I always like to try the new things and new concepts, and I would like to think I would, but honestly, I've had a lot of people I know who have watched it and they haven't changed much.
Hmm.
And that might be because they're not just ready. They're not at that point in their life and their journey to make the change. And to many, it seems like it's extreme. People use that word, but as Dr. Esselstyn says, what's extreme is sawing open your chest and taking veins out of your legs and doing this open heart bypass surgery, all for something that's preventable, related to diet and lifestyle. I mean, it seems extreme to do an open heart bypass surgery. Is it really extreme to change your diet to predominantly or maybe probably exclusively plant-based diet? That doesn't seem extreme to me. It actually seems more natural. So I think that there probably was a point in my life where I would have not gone all in after watching it, but at least it would have planted the seed so that when I was ready, I'd be able to jump on board. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So a shameless plug for go see Forks Over Knives step one if you're new to the whole idea of a plant-based diet, which I hope at least some people would have an idea that they're listening here. So we have this healing journey. Where were you when you watched Forks Over Knives? Had you lost some weight? Had you made some progress? Did you run your marathon?
Yeah, I actually had lost a little bit of weight. So I had probably was down to actually quite a bit of weight. Probably had lost already maybe 70 pounds.
Wow.
I had run 2 marathons, but my cholesterol was still high. I
Okay.
was pounding the chicken and the fish, still included some dairy products, and again, some of the unhealthy foods in moderation.
Right.
But I wasn't, being strict and plant-based. And I reached a plateau where like I just couldn't lose that last 30 pounds that I needed to. It's like, why am I still struggling? And hey, great, I got a lot of this weight off. I feel pretty good, proud of myself for what I had achieved. But I knew there was still something missing because why is this last little bit so hard? And even if I were able to lose the weight, why the heck is my LDL cholesterol still so darn high? Because I know how critical that is for heart disease prevention. And I'm like, I'm eating the lean chicken and the fish. I've lost weight. I'm not eating fried foods and junk hardly at all. And so then when I watched the Forks Over Knives and realized, hey, in many surveys, chicken is the number one source of cholesterol in the American diet. It's usually eggs, but chicken is close behind. I'm like, geez, I didn't realize there was so much cholesterol in chicken. And there's still some saturated fats in there, and there's no safe amount of saturated fats. So as I learned more of these things, as I delved into nutrition and lifestyle medicine, and Forks Over Knives, that's when I said, all right, let me get 100% strict, whole food plant based. And then boom, that 30 pounds came off like nothing. My LDL dropped at its lowest to 47, which is
Wow.
easy low. I couldn't believe it. And I said, this is it. Had a perfect example that if you do it and you see the results, then this is going to work. And so hence I got to, make sure that when I'm talking to my patients, they understand the cause of their problem is lifestyle and the treatment is to treat the cause of it, which is predominantly a plant-based diet with other lifestyle changes. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So you switched over. How many years ago was this now?
Geez. So the whole moment with my daughter was 2014. So that was 11 years ago.
Wow.
And it was 2016 that I watched Forks Over Knives. So I think I'd already run 2 marathons, and but again was struggling to get that last little bit off. And so it was almost not quite 10 years. Geez.
Wow. That's amazing. So then as far as your counseling patients, how did you come to learn like how to speak to them? Because I that was quite a journey for myself, how to approach it, understanding the power of the diet.
Yes.
Stopping someone early on when I had someone adopt the plant-based diet, because I had had my patient interaction that really led me to start looking. And someone took it and she full wholehearted. We had to stop 60 units of insulin in 3 days.
Wow.
I was not prepared for that de-prescribing. So I'm curious, how do you counsel your patients, and how do you handle the discussion on medications? Because there still is a place for medications, of course. But I'm curious, how do you approach that?
Yeah. When I first got into this, I was kind of all of the mindset, like a lot of people are. I'm going to save the world. I'm going to tell everybody about this. And every patient is going to, once I tell them, they're going to listen and they're going to do it, right? And then you realize
Right.
probably only 1% of people that you actually spend an hour with as a physician will actually go all in and do it. But hey, at least for that 1%, you made a huge impact. And so, of course, I'd never give up, but I was hoping more people would listen and understand, just kind of explain it all to them, the cause of heart disease, cholesterol, inflammation, how the plant-based diet is critical for that. But I was working out in a rural farm town at the time, which was very, I tell you, very much the opposite of a plant-based diet. So it was a struggle and it was frustrating when patients didn't do that. So I really learned the skill to kind of meet the patient where they're at, feel them out, and kind of understand how motivated is this person. A good question I ask sometimes is, how motivated are you on a scale from 1 to 10 to make significant lifestyle changes? And if they say anything under a 7, then I say, all right, I'm not going to give you the full, you got to, try to go 100% plant-based, because if I do, you're just going to not listen and not change anything whatsoever. And so I actually taught that, learned that technique when studying for the lifestyle medicine boards. So anybody who's more motivated, I make sure to spend the time to teach them why heart disease develops, how critical the diet is, and try to have them understand 100% plant-based is ideal. At least trying to achieve that 90 to 95% mark initially is maybe an easier goal for people to obtain, with the long-term goal of switching over as close to 100% as people can get. So just kind of feeling each individual out where they're at, their personal life. Do they have family members that are going to hinder lifestyle changes? What are the foods that they currently eat? And I try to guide them to change it over to a plant-based form of version of what they like. And then sometimes when the people are struggling, I just say, hey, listen, don't worry about anything going all in. Just pick a recipe from the Forks Over Knives website and just start eating it, because by default, if you eat more plant-based recipes, you're going to eat less of the other stuff. So it really is something that you develop over time as a practitioner to feel out the individual patient. And I make little notes in their chart. I ask them to do this, ask them to do that, I have frequent follow-ups. I do frequent phone calls with them when they're on a lifestyle medicine journey to keep them motivated and hold them accountable. I don't use any specific tool or app that's out there. I know there's a lot that I've kind of looked into, but it's a challenge. And the more you get into it and the more effort you put into it, like with anything, the more successful you'll be helping your patients change.
Yeah, so I found over the last 2 or 3 years, the language that I'm using is, what are some of the kind of the, like we spoke to before we started the podcast, was what is the one healing habit? So I have, if it's weight loss, there's like 7 core metabolism friendly healing, habits, which of course encourages, plant-based diet and movement. Like, what is that one thing? So reframing it from like, oh my gosh, you're asking me to not eat my whatever, but like, what can you add in? And what is that one tiniest thing you can do? And that's really been fun to kind of see the switch that people have. I've even created a habit healer manifesto. I'm like, it's a movement, man. I'm like, going to get people to start healing their habits versus thinking, I have to lose 20 pounds or I have to do this. Like, what can I do to move in that direction, and it'll take care of itself? Kind of like we say, when people embrace a plant-based diet, weight loss is a secondary effect, right?
Yes,
It's kind of
absolutely.
like the same thing. You start healing your habits and understanding you can architect and use your habit self. It's always running for you. You just have to reprogram it, and you have to learn how to do that, how to use that language, how to use your environment. So it's really fascinating to see. It's really fun actually to talk to people that way. So um,
Yeah.
it's like marketing 101. You have the same vehicle like you did. You're like, okay, where are you? A zero, you get this much. 7, you're getting the full sales pitch, right? So
Yep, yep, yep.
it
Yep, that's
really
exactly
is.
right. Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
marketing scheme where we get to be good at persuasion and selling,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, we just want people to do well. I love that. So now that you think about your career before and then you think about your career now. How do you feel differently? Like, tell me a little bit about satisfaction and how your mindset's changed and the
Oh
joy.
yeah. A day to day practicing cardiology, I have so much more satisfaction. I enjoy so much more. Simply, honestly, it sounds so simple and ridiculous when I think about it, because I truly understand the disease process of heart disease. And during my training, I didn't truly understand it. You would memorize, you would read a book, and we would learn endothelial injury of the arteries of the heart. Getting them injured is the first step in the process of plaque building up. I didn't really get what that meant, or like what's the cause of that injury. I'm just thinking, over time, as you get old, it gets injured. It's just kind of vague, but not really thinking it's predominantly dietary related. And so I learned these things, and I went through my practice. I'm getting these pills, and people are getting stents and open heart bypass surgeries because that's what I was trained to do, without really the core understanding of the process of heart disease until I learned lifestyle medicine and really understood it. And so now I really do know how to heal a patient by treating the cause of the problem. What a concept, treat the cause, right? Though my whole career, I was not treating the cause of the problem, which is just a ridiculous thing to think, that you go through all this medical training, pass all these board exams. I like to think I'm a smart person, but I had no clue of the whole basic concept of the foundation of heart disease, because that's just not the focus of what we do. And so I think that really, truly, once I learned the lifestyle medicine approach, made me really understand and enjoy being a cardiologist, because I know the right way truly to guide the patient, and doing it myself, living it, makes me understand where the patient's coming from, because I've been through it all and I understand the challenges.
So now I can't wait. This is my favorite part of your story, is this incredible journey that you had. How long ago was this? 3, 4 years ago now? About
It's actually only about 2.5 years. Yeah.
2.5. Oh gosh. Okay, so 2.5 years ago, can you please walk us through? You were running a half marathon or trained, and what happened during this half marathon? Y'all need to listen up because this is insanity. You were even on the Today Show because of it. So please
Yeah.
share your story.
Yeah, so it was the pandemic was about I think 3 to 4 years into the pandemic. I was signed up for the Monterey Bay Half Marathon. It was the first half marathon that I was going to do in person. I had done some virtual stuff during the pandemic. My two oldest kids were there with me. They were, I believe, 16 and 15 years old at the time. Beautiful day. Started running, and my kids were in front of me. But at mile three, a runner collapsed and had a full cardiac arrest right in front of me. He was in his 60s. His name was Greg, Superior Court judge in the state of Washington. Actually, he was pretty much dead. Complete cardiac arrest. Had to do CPR on him. It took 5 or 6 minutes before a defibrillator arrived, and he was in a fatal arrhythmia called ventricular fibrillation. We shocked him, got him back successfully. I called the ER and the cardiologist on call, and they ended up having to put. He was having a heart attack. Put a stent in his coronary artery. The Widowmaker opened it up, and he made a full recovery eventually. No damage done, no brain injury, no injury to his heart. It was crazy, but at the moment, I was, of course, frazzled. I've taken care of cardiac arrest patients at the hospital many times, but I'm used to having what we call a crash cart with all the medicines we need, IV access nurses, a whole team of people helping me. This was me in the middle of the road, with nobody around, although some people came to stop to help, of course, but we didn't have all the tools that I'm used to. So I was frazzled, and I said, all right, my kids are way ahead of me. They just think dad is slow. I'm going to keep running the race because I wasn't in last place yet. So I said, all right, let me keep going.
Can we just highlight 1 second here, just because I'm thinking, do you know how many were there, hundreds or thousands of people in this race?
I think there was about 6,000. Yeah,
Okay, 6,000 people. And this randomly, you were right behind
right
him
behind him.
and
Yes.
he has a cardiac arrest. Okay, that in and of itself is incredible. You have a cardiologist running behind you, but it gets even better, guys. I mean, just
Yeah.
insane. Okay,
Yeah.
keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I was frazzled too, because that's never happened to me ever, having to deal with something like that outside of work. So yeah, I kept running the race, and I crossed the finish line. And literally immediately after I crossed the finish line, I hear somebody say, "We need some help over here. Somebody fell down." And as I approached him, like, he didn't fall down. He is out. He's gone. He had no pulse. He was a 50-year-old guy named Michael. He was having a full cardiac arrest after the finish line. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This can't be happening. So jumped on him right away. I started doing CPR immediately, chest compressions. And thank goodness the medical tent was near the finish line. A defibrillator arrived within 1 or 2 minutes, hooked him up right away, He was in a fatal arrhythmia again, ventricular fibrillation. And we shocked him and his rhythm came back real quick. And the quicker you get somebody, the quicker they wake up. He's just thought he fainted. He woke up really quick and he's like, I need to get up. We're like, no, no, no. And the first thing he did was he stopped the Strava on his watch to record his time. We're like, dude, all right. But you wanted to get up and he's like, I just fainted, right? We're like, no, you just died. And we got you back. And he got to the hospital, had two coronary arteries that were severely blocked, got them fixed, full recovery, no damage done. So it happened a second time in the same race, which I mean, statistically is mind blowing. I've tried to do the math, uh, and it's got to be 1 in a billion chance that something
I
like
think
this.
this is an AI question we should look
Yeah.
up. Like, what are the chances? Okay, that is incredible. So, why don't you tell us then what happened? Because now you know these guys. Can you walk us through that? And while you're telling that story, I'm going to have ChatGPT actually calculate the odds real quick
Yeah.
while you sharing this story.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I yeah, I got to know Greg and Mike very well. They're wonderful, wonderful people. And as we talked and met afterwards, we ended up on the Today Show where they got to meet each other for the first time and reunited with me. It was very emotional and wonderful. I was a little frustrated though, because honestly, when I knew that this was getting national and actually worldwide media attention, the first thing I thought is, hey, the message we need to send is we need to prevent heart disease, diet and lifestyle, plant-based diet, exercise, all these things. These two runners, they were obviously exercising a lot, had run multiple marathons between the two of them. They were not following a healthy plant-based diet. No, they were not eating horrible. It's not like they were eating fast food and junk all the time, but they had their chicken and their occasional red meat, their very occasional fried food, and they had a dessert here and there, still had cheese and dairy products in their diet. Their cholesterol numbers weren't very high, but they weren't very well controlled either. And so they were kind of like the typical American who thinks they're being healthy and not doing too bad, but their focus is too much on the exercise and too little on the diet with the wrong dietary information, thinking eating chicken and fish all the time and still including dairy products is fine for overall heart health. This was the typical scenario. And so as we talked and learned more, I told them all about how no, you have to be more strictly plant-based. The diet is predominantly the reason why this happened to both of you. They are both now on 100% whole food, plant-based diets. Can you believe this? Even 2.5 years later, we just did a year later, they came back and ran with me, the three of us, and we did the half marathon. We were on all the news media again. And we both did, we all finished the race fine. No issues happened, which is great. And then 2 years later came back again. And so I just saw them maybe 3 months ago. They're both doing great on exclusively whole food plant-based diets, doing wonderful. So it's an amazing journey that not just a cardiologist was behind two runners with a cardiac arrest in the same race, but it was a lifestyle medicine focused cardiologist out of all of them,
Exactly.
that did this. And it's just so wonderful that they're such strong individuals, those two. I tell you, they're amazing people. They have made such a great recovery, no damage to their heart, no brain injury from the cardiac arrest. And we've used this story, I hope, to spread such a positive message, been at multiple charity events, telling our story, raising funds for different things. And hopefully through all those news broadcasts and social media stuff, we've motivated some other people to make the proper change, which is not just exercising, but changing the diet. Yeah.
No, that's incredible. So okay, had AI come, I won't believe this. So first of all, they said they have to actually calculate the incidence of cardiac arrest in races, right?
Mhm.
So that's estimated to be 1 per 50,000 or 1 per 100,000 runners for marathon runners and 1 per 20 or 1 per 50 in a half marathon. Step one. Step two is probability for around a 6,000 person race using the average incidence. The probability of one person having cardiac arrest in a 6,000 race is, assuming they did the random, they're doing some math. They didn't tell me all the results here. And then you have to look at the odds of the cardiologist witnessing both incidences at the same time. And you're thinking the randomness, they both collapse near him, the survivability probability, which is
Yeah.
only 50 to 70%, and the fact that both survive really suggests rapid intervention. So the probability of two people collapsing is 4%. The probability of a single specific cardiologist being at both sites is much lower, less than 0.1%, depending on your clustering and the survivability of 25 to 49%, it's far less than 1 in 100,000, an extremely rare event. And I imagine it's even more than that, but less than one in, like, the odds of that happening. That was just AI, just cursely, it was like, I'm just amazing. Think about the survivability, the randomness, the lifestyle, the ongoing effects. Oh my goodness, I can't.
Yeah, and it's not only survivability, but no damage done. I mean, complete recovery. I mean, it's crazy. It's incredible. And those two individuals, like I said, they're such wonderful people. They've actually motivated their whole families to go plant-based, and
Wow.
many other people. And we were talking about we should go on like a speaker's tour and just go to all these
Yeah.
different places and continue to spread this message. It's such a
Yes.
powerful message in general, the message itself, the plant-based diet lifestyle, how important it is for your overall health. But then a story like this is just such a great way to spread that message.
I think a book is in place, Stephen. I think the three of you should write your book, or at least do write
Oh
your
boy.
book with your story. I mean, if this isn't serendipity in the universe saying, hello, this is exactly what you should be doing, I don't know what is. So I think that's fabulous. So is a book in the works, or have you thought about
Oh, I don't know if I have time for that. I'm the chief of cardiology here, the medical director. I have 6 kids, and so I just really, I haven't had time. I haven't worked on my YouTube channel enough. I haven't put up a video in almost a year, so
it?
I really would love to, because any way I could spread the message, that would be helpful, would be great. And I've thought about it, but I just don't have the time for it. So.
All right. Well, when you do, I have some ideas for you. But anyway, it's fabulous. I love this story. And so I know there's going to be people listening who would love to work with you. Can you tell us, where are you located? Where can people come see you as a doctor?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Right now I'm in Monterey, California. I'm really only licensed to take care of patients in California. So I'm happy to help in any way I can. I'd love to work on lifestyle medicine. So anybody has interest in a lifestyle medicine approach for heart disease prevention, I'm the guy. That's what I love to do. And obviously I'm on social media. I have a Facebook page and YouTube channel, which needs to become more active. But you can always reach out to me there as well. So.
Awesome. So we'll put the links, everyone, below to all of your socials and where to locate you if they want to come see you as a patient. So thank you, Dr. Loam, for sharing your incredible story and your journey, because it's like one I've never heard. So I just wanted, I was so excited to share. I was like, gotta share Stephen's story. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Oh, thank you so much for spreading this message because, you are saving lives with what you're doing here too. So it's great.
Thanks for tuning in to the Habit Healers podcast. Remember, being a habit healer isn't about perfection. It's about choosing healing one habit at a time. So if today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to download the Habit Healer Manifesto. It is your daily reminder of the identity you're stepping into. So grab it now at the link below or head on over to drmarbus.com and be happy to join our newsletter and so many wonderful resources. And remember, you are always one healing habit away. I'll see you next time.